Hi guys, hey, Ty Cohen here. And look, if you don't know me, I've helped authors, I've helped writers, I help digital content creators to be able to better understand their audiences, put together quality content, and sell it. And I'm qualified to do so because I've sold tens and tens and tens of thousands of different digital products online, ranging from Kindle books to courses to digital books to audios and you name it. All right. So, what I want to share with you guys is something that I call my 10,000 plus happy customer formula. And I think you're going to get a lot of value out of this thing. I think you're really going to appreciate the way that this is laid out. And it's going to give you some clarity. So, if you're someone right now who's frustrated, you've been trying to sell your own digital content, whether it's an ebook or in a PDF format, whether it's a Kindle book, whether it's a course, what I'm going to share with you over the next couple of minutes is going to be eye opening. All right. So, I call this my double R formula. And no, it's not Rolls Royce. It's the foundation, right, of creating a business that gives you pretty much everything that you want as a creator. And that's the raving fans, right? For some of us, it's the ego part. It's like we want the fans and we want the audience. And then for some of us, it's the royalties, right? We want to be able to go in and create something, position it to the market, and then hopefully they buy it, right? But then for some of us, and hopefully this is for you because this is the best way, it's both of them, right? It's the double R, it's the raving fans and it's the royalties, right? So you get the best of both worlds, right? So I'm going to give you my three-step approach to this, right? So it's a three-step approach to achieving your digital publishing dreams. And when I kind of, it took me a lot of time. Like I've been at this thing for almost 2 decades, 20 years, right? But when I first got each of these, there was a shift in my business. So each of these gave me kind of like this paradigm shift. And then when you stack them together, it becomes crazy, it becomes really insane. So I'm going to show you all of these, and you won't have to wait 20 years in a way, but I've had to wait 20 years to get these, right? You're going to get them all now. And I'm going to make this super short for you. All right. So, again, if you don't know me, my name is Ty Cohen. Many of you have been on trainings or events with me, know, like, and trust me because I give you the best of the best information, and this will be no different. Who here is attending an event with me for the very first time? Put first in the chat box or the comments box or wherever you're watching this thing at. Put first if this is your very first time, because I'm gonna record this and I'm gonna share this on different social media platforms as well. So just give me a 1ST. All right. All right. Very cool. Okay. Now, some of the biggest names out there have suggested my trainings to their audiences. So, folks like Les Brown, who you see here on the screen. Let me know which of these individuals you've heard of before. Put their names in the chat box or in the comments box. People like Robert Kiyosaki, author of a book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. The late Bob Proctor, who I've had the chance to work with. The star of a movie, The Secret, right? Who here has heard of any of these individuals? And I've also had the pleasure of working with just a ton of other people that are some of them are rock stars and superstars, right? And maybe even you here, and people that have been able to take what I give and share it with their audiences because they value what I give, all right? And hopefully you'll value what I'm going to share with you as well. Now, I'm going to give you, right? This is my goal. My goal is to equip you with the foundational principles and a quick win strategy. I'm actually going to give you a couple of quick win strategies so that you can achieve digital publishing success at a level that you're currently not doing it right now. All right. So that's my goal by the end of this presentation. And I'm going to make it super short. Is that okay? Let me know. Just put a okay or put a yes in the chat box or in the comments box, wherever you're watching this. Just let me know. Is that okay? Is it okay for me to give you the foundational principles, right, that will help you to achieve the digital publishing success that you're looking for, as well as give you a couple of quick win strategies that will allow you to get there quicker as well. All right. So, honest question. Who here is getting tired of their brilliant ideas for fiction or nonfiction? Like you might come up with like this incredible idea for a personal development book, or this incredible idea to help people to overcome depression, or maybe you've got this romance novel, right? That's on your hard drive or that's on your computer. Or maybe it's out in the ethers. Maybe you've written it in Google Docs or something like that, and nothing's ever become of it, right? So it's collecting like this mental or this digital dust. Who here is you're kind of tired of that, right? Give me a yes. Let me know if that's something that you're frustrated by. Maybe you're overwhelmed by the process. Maybe you know that if you get this stuff out, it will do well. People will receive it, right? Or maybe you know you're like, well, what if I put it out there and then no one's really into it, right? Which is a really big fear of a lot of people. If I go in and you say, hey, look, I'm going to put this is my book here. Hopefully, you guys can see this, right? And you release it, you publish it, and then no sales, right? This is supposed to be sales here. You get no sales. What if that happens? So these are things that people really deal with here. And oftentimes, these are some of the things that prevent us from moving forward, right? So I want to ask you a question. And I'm really interested in knowing what you think. There's no right or wrong here. Why do you think this is happening? Like, why do you think you get to a point where you have this idea for something and maybe you don't move forward on it? Maybe you go in, you plan it out, maybe you outline it, maybe you start to do everything, right? Maybe even go in and you create it, but then you don't publish it. Or if you do publish it, you don't follow through. Like you don't then go in and do everything that's required to make sure that the sales come in. Or maybe you do that at the very beginning and then you're not consistent with it. Why do you think that's happening? Put it in the chat box or in the comments box. I'm really curious as to why you personally think that that's happening for you. And also, if you want to be, if you want to help us out, why do you think it's happening for other people? Right? Put it in the chat box as well. Let me know. Why do you think it's happening? And answer honestly, because this is going to help you. Do you think it's like fear? Do you think it's, maybe it's the fear of being successful? For me, that was a big thing. It was like, okay, if I become successful, how are other people going to see me? How is my family going to see me? How are my friends, my peers? How are other people who've known me for a while and they've seen this transition? How are they going to take it? Right? So could it be fear? Could it be a frustration? Do you think it's frustrations, right? Like, I've worked so hard to do this and I don't know what the next steps are. Or here's a big one that affects a lot of people. Almost most people are affected by this one. Could it be self doubt? Right? Like, I'm not going to even really go in and try because I don't think I'm capable. Right? I don't think I have the skill set. I don't think I'm worthy of being someone who goes in and publishes a book, or someone who goes in and who puts out content that people are going to buy. It's self-doubt, right? I don't think the quality of my writing, or maybe the quality of my skill set, my knowledge is not there to the point where people are willing to exchange. They'll go in their pocket and they'll take out some money, or they'll give a card in exchange, right, for what it is that I have. So could it be the self-doubt? Let me know. Which one do you think it is? So here's some common fears and frustrations starting out, right? So the first is the fear of failure. This is a big one right here. Failure, right? Because a lot of people will get an idea and then they say, well, if I go in and I share this idea with everyone, and sometimes it's just sharing it with yourself. And if I go in and I try and I put this thing together and it doesn't get the results that either myself or other people expect that it should get, then I've failed. And that's not a good place to be in. Mentally, it's not a good place to be in. Expectation wise, it's not a good place to be in, right? So we're thinking of what will it feel like if we fail, even before we get to that point of failure. Does that make sense? And then that stops you. Like just getting to the point of thinking about failure even before you get there. And now you're thinking, like you may not even be conscious of all of the thoughts that go into what would it look like if you fail. Right? And then the next one is rejection. I think I got that one right. Rejection, right? What happens if I go out and I put in all of the effort and I fully try and then no one buys, right? It goes back up to here where I talked about the no sales. I put it out there and no one buys. Maybe my family will buy, maybe a couple of people will buy, folks that I know, right? That's rejection. And even worse, what if I put it out there and then I get a ton of negative reviews? That's another form of rejection, right? What if people do buy, but they don't like it? I get the 1-star reviews, I get the 2-star to 3-star reviews. What if I get negative comments on this project that I think to be my baby? And I want you guys to think about this. Because as a creator, it's more than just creating the content. All of these things keep you from getting to a point that you want to be. And then when you layer these, like some of us deal with multiples of these. It's not bad enough just dealing with one. When you deal with the fear of failure, and then you got this fear of rejection, right? And then we add technology onto this. Technology is growing incredibly fast, right? You've got AI. You've got all of these new platforms that are popping up. You've got old platforms like Amazon that accept AI, right? And there's uncertainty about that. How long will it last? What can I publish? Do I own the rights to it? Will I get sued? So there now you've got technology in here, which becomes another issue, right? So we've got the fear of failure. We've got rejection being a possibility. We've got technology and what do I do? Where do I even fit there? And then you've got not being good enough. This is one that I touched on earlier, right? It's what if I'm not qualified to write the content, but I think I'm qualified to write? What if I'm not as good as J.K. Rowling or any Stephen King or anyone else that's out there or anyone that's in your genre that's doing it? What if I'm not as good as, if you're a course creator, if I'm not as good as the guru that's out there? What if I'm not as good as the tycoons that are out there? And then what happens is you're comparing yourself to people that have been at this place. They've been in this race for years, decades, right? And you're forgetting that they started out exactly where you're at right now. So the fear of not being good enough, that's a big one as well. Right? So again, raise your hand or give me a nod or comment yes if any of these have affected you at some point in time. Right? And I'm raising my hand because I've been there as well. And believe it or not, it still creeps up more often than you think. The fear of failure, the fear of rejection, the fear of technology, the fear of not being good enough. Right? But I'll tell you, the reason why you'll see people who are successful, they continue to be successful, is because they realize that it's part of being human. Like if you don't have certain fears, if you don't have certain things that come up every once in a while, then you really don't fit into this group of being human, right? So all of these things are natural. But what the super successful realize is that they come up, and when they come up, they recognize that they've come up. They say, I'm going to push through this, right? There's a point where you can continue to push through the uncomfortableness. So you might be here, which totally uncomfortable, right? Here is where it gets a little bit less uncomfortable. Here is where you're now in your zone of genius and you can kind of do it. But what happens is you have to continue to push through slowly but surely until you get here. It's uncomfortable, a little less uncomfortable. And then you continue to push till you get to, yes, it might be uncomfortable, but this is my good space right here. When I get there, I'm rocking and rolling. And that doesn't happen the first time. It doesn't happen the second time. It doesn't happen the third time. It's a combination of times, right? So you try it over and over and over, and you get better and better and better at it, right? So let me know if that makes sense. How about some of these? Who here has ever experienced some of these here? Maybe you have gotten to a point where you're like, okay, I'm published now, right? My book is out there, or I've completed my course and it's out there, but no one's buying it. Or at least no one's buying it to the degree that you thought people would buy it at. Now what happens is frustration comes into play on top of the fear of failure, the fear of rejection, right? No one's buying it. Maybe I'm being rejected here. The fear of not being good enough, right? I knew that this wasn't good. I shouldn't have even tried. And then what happens? Now it gets even harder to try again. What about the lack of engagement? You go and you put it out there, you publish now, you've published that nonfiction book or that fiction book, right? And then there's a lack of engagement. So people are just not really even, they're not even going in and buying it again, as I mentioned, to the degree that you thought they would, right? How many people have ever had these fears? Or for some of you, how many people that are not in the KDP community, right? And have not followed what we give you. How many people have had this happen to them? You've published your book and it's not selling. You've published your course. Give me and again, we're being totally transparent. We're being honest, right? Or maybe you've published it and you've generated minimum income from it, minimum sales, right? How many people have been there? They've said, okay, I'm going to go in, I'm going to do this thing, and I'm going to boom. Or maybe you've gone through the Kindle Cashflow program, right? And you jumped around and you didn't follow. And then you're seeing all of these other people having success, but you come in and you take a shortcut, you publish, and you're like, oh my God, this is not working for me. And immediately you go back to, okay, I'm not worthy. I knew this wasn't going to work. Instead of looking at it like I should have gone step by step and did exactly what the guys say, right? So all of these are common fears and frustrations that people have. Now, what about you've gone in, you've published, but now you have these uncertainties about the future of publishing, especially with AI, right? What does this look like for me as a writer? What does this look like for me as a content creator? What does this look like for me as someone that's a creative, right? Do I embrace AI? Do I not embrace it, right? There's a lot of uncertainties about the future right now. And for the next couple of years, we're going to be seeing this. Maybe you're wondering, how do I even stay ahead of the curve? Like, is it even worth it for me to continue? And let's be honest, how many people have felt one of these, or maybe a combination of these? The uncertainty about the future of publishing. Is this thing still viable? Does it still work? Right? How many people have ever thought that? I had someone who came up to me last week. He said, hey, Ty, does this still work? Meaning digital publishing. I said to him, I said, well, I want you to go over to, and I gave him a couple of sites, and I said, I want you to look at the stuff. Do you see where these things are selling? We went over to Amazon, and I showed him some books that were released recently. I said, what do you think about this? Look at the numbers here. Look at how many people left reviews for this thing. Look at how many copies are selling. Do you think that it's still working? Yes or no? And you could see the look on his face, and he's like, oh my God, it's not only is it still working, but it's working better than ever, right? And then the last one is, who do you trust? Right? So the same individual that I was talking to, we then went over to social media and we started looking at different authors and we looked at different content creators. And there's this entire abundance of people that are gurus when you go over on social media, right? You go to Instagram, you go to TikTok, everyone's got a video. Everyone's got a way of doing things. And then now it becomes this sea of who do I actually trust? So has this been a fear? Let me know in the chat box. Give me a yes or shake your head or raise your hand if this has been. Like, how do I know where to go? And the answer is you find one or two individuals that you resonate, that you get a good energy vibe from, and you stick to those people. That's what it will take. Because the more you jump around, the more uncertainty you start to create. Does that make sense? Let me know. Give me a yes in the chat box if that makes sense. All right, give me a yes. So I want to give you a strategy for overcoming a lot of these things here. As a matter of fact, if you use these strategies, the chances of you overcoming most of these becomes greater and greater. Right? So you ready? Let me know in the chat box if you're ready to get this strategy. It's going to help you to overcome these things here so that you get to a point, you go from being here, the uncertainty, to being in your zone of genius. And then when you're in your zone of genius, guess what happens? The ideas come to you quicker. You now start to act on these ideas quicker. You get them to market quicker. You start to find things that help you to get them to market. You start to find people and resources that help you to get better at the things that you're terrible at right now. You might be a great content creator, but you're terrible at the marketing. But when you get to this point, as a result of using some of the strategies that I'm going to give you, all of this stuff becomes a lot easier. All right. So let's jump into some of these. All right. So I'm gonna give you 3 principles. So 3 principles, and they all stack and reinforce each other. Right. So all of them. So the first is knowing your audience. Right. And I like to call this my 10,000 plus happy customers formula here. Now, does this mean that you're going to go in and grab 10,000 happy customers as soon as you go in and put all 3 of these into play? We're all adults, right? So we know that that's not how it works. But what I have found is I found that these are the things that have personally generated me tens of thousands of customers, tens of thousands of customers. Right. So if you go in and you apply some of these things, sure, you might be able to go in and grab a couple of customers. And the more you focus on it, the more you're going to get better at it. Right. So this is my 10,000 happy customers formula. The first is know your audience. Right. Who are they? What are some of their needs? In fiction and nonfiction, how does your content uniquely address them? Right. So when I got better at understanding who my audience is, this thing really blew up for me. Because before I was just going in and releasing stuff and creating stuff and praying that people wanted it. But the more focus you can get, the more of an understanding that you can get as to who exactly is your individual. Are they male or female? Are they in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, right? Is it a combination of both male and female? Does it consist of, like, I know my audience and I go in and I look at my audience, and if I were to draw a pie chart like that, and if I'm saying male or female, it's like this, right? So it'd be like, I don't know if that looks good or not, but this is like 60% female, 40% male. So now when I'm creating content, whether it's a book, whether it's a course, whether it's a training program like this, I can speak to my audience more intelligently because I've taken the time to find out what do they consist of demographically, right? When you talk about your audience, your readers, right? Your content consumers, what age group are they? Are they in their 20s? Because if so, then you're going to talk to them differently than you would talk to someone that's in their 60s or 70s. And I think that a lot of people really underestimate how valuable this is. This is something that you can use in every area of your business, not only your content creation, but also your communication with your audience and also your marketing, right? And then your follow up as well. Because the way that you talk to someone that may be a woman may be slightly different than the way you talk to a man. So the way that you talk to someone that's in their 20s may be slightly different than the way that you talk to someone that's in their 50s or their 60s or their 70s, right? Or even in their 30s. The way that you talk to someone that is a die-hard sci-fi fan and all they consume is science fiction is going to be totally different than the way that you talk to someone who only consumes personal development or only consumes romance. And not enough people go in and pay attention to this. And hopefully you're not doing this. Right? Hopefully that's not you. Right? So how do you get better at knowing who your audience is? Right? Well, I'm going to give you one that works really well. And this is going in and you're doing a social media blitz. Right? So I call it a social media engagement blitz, where you're going in and you're engaging with your audience. You're going to, every single day, you should be spending 5 minutes to 15 minutes a day on a platform of your choice. And that platform might be Twitter, it might be Instagram, it might be TikTok, right? And it's the platform of your choice, because I don't want you to have to go in and get used to a platform, right? So you're going to spend 5 minutes a day on Twitter. And first, right now, decide, put it in the chat box, put it in the comments box. I want you to commit to this. Which platform are you going to spend this time on before I give you the formula? Is it Twitter? Is it Facebook? Is it Instagram? Is it TikTok? Put it in the chat box right now or in the comments box or wherever you're watching this, right? All right. So All right, very cool. So it's gonna be Twitter for some of you. For a lot of you guys, it's gonna be Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Okay. So now what you do is, you know how you've got the search bar on all of these platforms? Every single one of them has it. This is probably something that you're not doing. Take the hashtag that's relevant to your niche or to your genre, right? So for example, if you're a romance publisher, you might take something like hashtag romance readers or hashtag I love romance, right? And as you get better, as you do this more and more, you're going to get better. You're going to find additional hashtags. But you'll put that hashtag in the search bar of the social media platform of your choice. And then you hit enter and you're going to start to see discussions that come up. You're going to start to see posts that come up. You're going to start to see groups if you're on Facebook that come up. You're going to see pages that come up. And go in and take a look at what the people who are commenting under those groups and those pages, right, are talking about. Go in and look at what is it that they're talking about. So you're going to find these discussions that are relevant to your genre, relevant to your niche, right? And then you're going to go in, and this is the key, you're going to authentically participate. You're going to authentically participate. And what do I mean by that? Ty, what do you mean by going in and authentically participating, right? Well, you're going to leave thoughtful comments. So you're going to leave thoughtful comments on posts. You're going to go in and you're going to help. Zig Ziglar, the late Zig Ziglar says, if you help as many, you can get anything that you want if you help enough people get what they want. So as you go in and you start to see these posts, you start to see these comments, you're going to go in and you're going to comment in a way where you're sharing your insight. You're going to comment and you're going to participate in a way where you're answering questions. And again, you can do this for fiction and nonfiction. It works extremely well for both, right? This is something that I'll go in and I'm a huge fan of doing, especially when I have some downtime. I might be at maybe my daughter's practice and I'm on my phone. You can do this with your phone, right? And what you're going to do is you can also share insights. There's going to be questions. There's going to be posts that are relevant to your book. If you've got a book that's published, and if you don't have a book that's published, or you don't have a course that's published, there's going to be comments. There's going to be questions. There's going to be posts that are relevant to where you're moving, what you're working on, and you could share insights from that content that you have. And again, as you do this more and more, it starts to become easier. You'll be able to quickly spot these posts out, right? You'll be able to go in and you'll be able to join the conversations. And again, you're doing this authentically. You're not going in, you're not marketing, you're not sharing links. I hate when people do that, right? Here's my book on Amazon, go buy it. You're doing it authentically. You're coming from a position of helping. This is free marketing and promotion that every single person that's watching this should be doing. Do not get lazy with this stuff because this is stuff that works. And what it does is it helps to build up your visibility. It helps to get people interested in what it is that you're doing. So the goal here is not to go in and immediately get these sales, but it's to initiate genuine interactions. It's to spark interest. It's to gauge reactions. And as you do this, you start to understand who your audience is more and more, right? You go and you start to look at those profiles of people that are responding to your comments. You go in and you start to look at some of their posts, some of their pages, right? You go and you start to stalk them a little bit. And I'm being facetious with this, but this is how, and what you do is you do this enough. If you're doing it every single day for 5 minutes to 15 minutes a day, you'll start to see patterns. You start to say, oh my God, the people that are interested in this type of content that I'm providing, they're mostly females. They're mostly women, right? They're mostly men, or maybe they come from this geological location here. Maybe most of them are in Canada. Maybe most of them are in the UK, right? And you're focusing on building relationships, not just making sales. I'm going to say that again. You're focusing on genuinely helping people. You're focusing on genuinely getting to know people. This is what I call in the mud marketing. I did this for many, many, many years, and it helped. And one person at a time, you start to build these relationships with. So this stuff doesn't happen overnight. Who here is committed to doing this? Give me a yes in the chat box. If you're truly, oftentimes people say, look, I want to get to this point, and they think that they could just take a jet and fly there. Sometimes you have to walk, and sometimes you have to crawl, right? We've all heard that saying of sometimes you got to crawl before you walk, right? And I like to add on sometimes you got to crawl before you walk, and sometimes you got to walk before you fly, right? But if you do this enough, flying becomes a lot easier, right? So this helps you to foster trust. It helps you to foster like the loyalty. If you look at some of the people, even maybe you who have followed me, who have been customers of mine for many, 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 many years, it's because of those genuine interactions, right? It maybe I might be sending someone a message, right? And maybe I'm responding to their post, and it's not just about a sell. It's being genuine. It's being responsive. It's answering questions. It's acknowledging that person. It's providing them with feedback, right? It's showing appreciation for engagement. Someone go in and they'll respond to one of your posts or they respond to your comment. You come back and, hey, thank you. All of that means a lot to people and people remember it. People remember how you made them feel more than anything. All right. And what's going to happen is you're now getting these loyal followers that are telling other people. How many people here have ever told someone else about one of my programs, about one of my trainings or something like that, or about one of my team members here? So knowing your audience, right? Principle number one, right? Knowing your audience. And then you start to track this stuff. You start to look at which strategies give you the most valuable feedback and engagement. And then you adjust. So now if you find that going in and posting and engaging works a little bit better than commenting on someone else's post, then you start to do a little bit more of that. Hopefully this makes sense. Give me a yes if this makes sense. All right. And if it's foreign to you initially, then it will become more comfortable to you as you do it more often and you stick to it. So principle number two is create high quality content. So you see us talk about this all the time on KCF Live events. You see us talk about this doing some of our challenges on the Monday morning meetups. We'll talk about this. And that is creating high quality content, well researched, engaging and professionally presented content is going to really help you to generate happy customers that not only buy from you once, but buy from you over and over and over again, more than anything else. Making sure that you're not rushing through your content, focusing on quality over quantity, rather than churning out like these large volumes of just so content, focusing on creating pieces that are really going to provide people with value. And again, this applies to both fiction and nonfiction, right? So stuff that's going to resonate with your audience, right? Now, when you do this, it takes putting a little bit more time into research. It takes putting a little bit more time into maybe editing. It takes putting a little bit more time into crafting your content. Making sure that it's well structured, making sure that you don't have all of the errors in there. But trust me, it is well worth it. All right? So paying attention to like your visual appeal. What does your cover look like? Sometimes people will come to me and they're like, "Hey Ty, my book's not selling." And I'll ask them to send me a link. And I see that they've spent, days or weeks or months or years working on their book. But then they've spent a couple of hours on the cover. Which if you guys have heard me talk about this before, I give you the 3 lines of defense. As a matter of fact, at KCF Live, which is coming up, I'm giving you the 5 lines of defense. And what's one of the first lines of defense? It's the visual appeal, right? It's your cover. Depending on this, depending on your demographic, depending on your audience. So depending on your audience, it could be first, or it could be second. And I'm going to tell you at KCF Live how you can tell the difference between if your cover should be first based on your demographics or if it should be second. And what should be first if your cover is second, right? So paying attention to like your visual appeal, using eye-catching images, graphics, or videos if you're creating courses and things like that to enhance your content and make it more shareable. We're now in an age where if you have stuff that looks good, people will go in and share it, but it has to look good on the outside as well as on the inside. People don't mind going in and sharing it. And all of these platforms including platforms like Amazon. They make it easy for people to go in and share, right? But you got to do your job, right? So creating high quality content. The other point to this is being consistent. So making sure that you're not just publishing one book or one course, right? But you're consistent. Like you've got this content creation calendar. If you look at all the most successful individuals, I want you to think of put a name of someone that you consider to be successful in your genre in the chat box right now or in your industry. Doesn't matter if that person is an author, a guru, content creator, put it in the chat box or in the comments box right now. And I want you to do so before I give you this next point, because I want you to see how true this is. So go ahead. I'm going to give you a couple of seconds. Put it in there, or if you know of multiple people, put it in there right now. All right. Now I want you to think, how many pieces of content, how many programs, how many books, how many courses have they created? Is it just one? Chances are no. Chances are it's at least more than one. It's several, right? And that's because they understand the core principle of being consistent. They understand the principle of consistency, keeping your customers happy. When someone comes in and they buy from you, that becomes the easiest person to resell to. It becomes the easiest person to resell to. And many people are making a mistake of trying to go in and grab new customers every time. They're making a mistake of going over here where it's really hard, right? And grabbing a new customer, and then they're ignoring the people that already love them. They're ignoring the people that are already happy customers. So consistency helps keep your audience engaged, right? And it helps to build your momentum over time. So that the next time you release something, that person's already a buyer. And now you stack these on top of one another, it gets easier and easier and easier. You guys got to stop thinking of yourself as just an author, just a content creator, right? You have to start looking at this stuff differently. How do I now go in and these happy customers that I have, how do I give them more so that I keep them happy? Because if you're not consistently creating content, and I'm saying every single day, I'm not saying every single week, right? But you do have to have a schedule. And that schedule could be once a month. It could be once every 6 months. It could be once a year. But you do have to have a consistent schedule. Go in and look at that guru or that author, right, that you just mentioned earlier. Hopefully you did this, because if you didn't do it, if you're not going to do the simple stuff, there's no way you're going to do the stuff that's a little bit unfamiliar to you. But go in and look at how much they've put out. And I guarantee you that it's more than just one piece of content. So principle number 2 is create high quality content and do it consistently. Right? Principle number 3 is build your platform. This, if I had to start all over again, I would start with building my platform. So technically number 3 should be number 1, right? But you have to get to number 3 first. And that's building your platform. Like establishing an online presence through like a website or a blog or a funnel using, we give you guys our automatic marketing system, our AMS, automatic marketing systems. With an S, it's plural. I said automatic marketing system initially. But we give you this when you join KCF Live at the platinum level, right? When you come in, you get this as a bonus. You get a 14-day free trial to it. And it helps you to build out your funnels, right? Your website, your blog, gives you all of the follow-up messaging and sequences that you need, like the emails that you should be using, the text messages that you should be using. Gives you the templates, right? So being able to establish an online presence through having a funnel, having a website, having a blog, social media. And then my favorite, which is why I have it bolded out here, is email lists. This is one of the easiest things to do, but it's often one of the last things that people actually put attention to. It's one of the last things that people actually focus on. And it should be one of the things that you do in conjunction with building out your book or building out your course. As a matter of fact, you should even start it before. And if you haven't started building out your email list, then you're really, missing out on this. And I'm going to go at KCF Live. I'm really going into how do you build out your email list? How do you do this step by step? So that even if it's confusing to you, By the end of that period, when I talk about it during my presentation at KCF Live, you'll know exactly how to build out an email list. And then we'll show you how to continue to build it out, right? This is part of that 10,000 happy customers process here. And some of the ways that you could do this, and again, I'll go into a lot more detail at KCF Live, is you offer a free sample of your book or a free chapter, right? Or a free piece of content of your course. You share a compelling excerpt from your book or your course. You make it super accessible. Hey, give me your name, give me your email address, or give me your name and your phone number, your email address and phone number and name, and I'll give you this piece of content here. Or you could simply go share it on your blog, share it on your website, right? Share it in your funnel, share it to social media. The biggest thing that you have to do is start doing this and not be attached to your content. When you start to give small bits of it away, people want to reciprocate. They get to better understand you. They get to know, like, and trust you. And then they want to reciprocate. Oh my God, this person gave me this for free. How do I pay this person back? The first thing that comes to mind is they pay back by paying you, right? So people will pay back by paying you. And then here's the other beautiful thing about this is you now can encourage feedback. You can ask readers for their honest opinions and their thoughts, right? So the overall goal here is, like, you get to a point where you're generating enough buzz, you're attracting potential buyers, and you're gaining insights into reader preferences, right? And this all helps you with creating additional content. It all helps you with building out your list. It all helps you with marketing. It all helps you better understand your demographic. But being just a writer is not going to help you to do any of this stuff. Being just a content creator is not going to help you to do any of this stuff, right? So when you put all of these together, principle number 1, knowing your audience, plus principle number 2, creating high quality content, plus principle number 3, building your platform together, what happens is you now get to this point where you start to attract happy customers that are with you lifelong, that stay with you forever, that are there diehard, that are in your corner, that are buying what you put out. I've got people who buy every single thing that I put out because of these principles here. Me knowing them, getting to know who they are, interacting with them. Doesn't take a lot of time. Me putting out high quality content. And they know that, look, when I buy from Ty, it's going to be good stuff. And me continuously building up the platform, right? Building up my email list, building up my social media presence, right? So I'm going to actually walk you through all of this stuff. We're going to share, how do you do each of these? What are some of the tactics, right, that you can use to put these in place at KCF Live? And if you don't have your ticket yet, make sure you go in and look, because you've spent the last 40 minutes with me or so, depending on if you've got here at the very beginning, I'm going to do something really cool for you, right? I want you to go over to kcflive.com, grab your ticket, and grab a platinum ticket, because when you get a platinum ticket, you're going to get over 20, it's like over $2,600 worth of additional bonuses. But I don't want you to pay full price for the platinum ticket. Now, if you've already bought your ticket, that's fine, right? You can't go in and change things up. But if you have not gotten a platinum ticket here, I've created a special discount code, and I want to give you 25% off of a platinum ticket, right? And it's only going to work for the first 20 people. It's actually, sorry, not even 20 people, because I went in and I used one of the slots trying to test this thing out to make sure that the code was right after my admin had set it up. But when you go over to kcflive.com, and this only works for the platinum ticket, you upgrade to the platinum ticket and you put in the code HAPPY. Make sure you put the code in, because it's going to instantly deduct 25% off. If you're one of the first 19 or 20, I'm not sure if when I tested it, if it took off one of those spots, so it might still be 20. But make sure you go over to kcflive.com, select the platinum ticket, which should be on your right-hand side, I think. You'll see all the additional bonuses that you get. Put in the discount code HAPPY. Do it right now, because there's people that are probably watching this that are already done it, and you don't want to miss out, right? And unfortunately, when we do reach that mark of 19 or 20 people, however many it is, that have already gone over to KCF Live, they've selected the platinum ticket, and they've put in the discount code HAPPY, If you go there and it doesn't work for you, then that means that it's too late. But even at the price that you'll see over there, which I believe is, I forget what it is, but it's still a value. If not only for the bonuses alone, right? Like you're gonna get ChatGTP prompts library, which is one of the bonuses with a platinum ticket. You're gonna get Amazon ad templates, which shows you how to run ads, which also coincidentally works with principle number 3, helping you to build up your platform, right? How do you get your book, your product in front of more people that fit this demo using Amazon ads? So we're gonna give you that guide. Email marketing strategies, you're gonna get this bonus as well, which again fits into principle number 3, building your platform. So that's one of the bonuses as a platinum ticket holder that you'll get. How to create a best-selling book description. This one falls into principle number 2, high quality content, right? Because high quality content does not just mean your book, does not just mean your course. It's how do you describe it? How do you write the copy? How do you use words that fit together so that people understand that this is for them? So you're going to get that bonus that shows you how to create a compelling best-selling book description. And then you're going to get the ultimate KDP Select guide, which shows you how to go in and use KDP Select to the next level, right? And then there's some additional bonuses that we have as well, too. So you're going to get, and these are bonuses that may be limited. I'm not sure how long my team is going to keep these up, but you're going to get a free copy of our $97 5 Minutes to More book sales course. So this is a course that sells for $97 on its own. So just going in, and you're at a win. So like you're already at a point where you're taking advantage to a degree. When you go over to kcflive.com, you get that platinum ticket. Even if you did not get a chance to be one of the first 20 or 19 that could apply that discount code HAPPY, right? And it's just HAPPY. It doesn't matter if it's lowercase or a capital. But you'll get that additional course, 5 Minutes to More book sales, right? Which sells for $97. So that alone is worth it. Then you're going to get, remember I talked about our AMS, our automatic marketing system. So you're going to get a free 14-day trial to that as well, which helps you to build up your funnels, helps you to build out your website, your blog, helps you to build your list. So this is where you'll build your list on this platform. This is a software program. It's a CRM that you can use, right? This helps you to do all of these things. Principle number 1, get to know your audience a little bit better because you'll be able to communicate with them on social media. There's a way for you to use this thing to post to Instagram, to post to TikTok, to post to I'm not sure if you can post to TikTok using it, but Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you'll be able to post, and some of them you can go and you can create one post and it'll push it out to all those platforms. So using our AMS system, right, that you'll get this free 14-day trial to once you become a platinum ticket holder. Right? You can also use it to create high quality content because you'll be able to use this to create membership areas. So for those of you that are selling courses, you'll be able to host your courses on this platform. And when someone comes in and they buy your course, they'll be able to access it from this platform. So the AMS platform, which you're going to get a free 14-day trial to as well when you're a platinum ticket holder. If you have ever purchased anything from us, you'll see that this is one of the platforms that we host all of our courses on. So you probably have a login to this. So you're going to get the exact same setup that we use, right? And then we just added this bonus, depending on when you're watching this video, these bonuses have just been added, but a free copy of our How to Write Short Stories that sell, which also sells for $97. So this is worth the price of a platinum ticket. Actually, it's much more valuable when you use that discount code HAPPY, right? So make sure that you use the discount code. I'm going to wrap this thing up, kcflive.com. I'm going to go into each of these principles, knowing your audience, creating high quality content, building your platform. And this is something that you don't want to miss. Even if you've been at KCF Live, before, many of our people, they come back. Remember I said that the easiest person to sell is the person that knows, likes, and trusts you. So most of the individuals, it's a high number. We have more people who come to KCF Live the first time will come back the second time, and the third, and the fourth, and the fifth, and they don't ever miss one. Once you start to get how easy this stuff is, it becomes a lot easier for you to get to this point of having a boatload of happy customers. All right. So with that said, my name is Ty Cohen. Go over to kcflive.com. Be one of the first 20 to use that discount code. Even if it's too late, still go in and grab your platinum ticket. All right. Put in the chat box or in the comments box once you've gotten your ticket, I'm in. I'm gonna look at. I love rewarding people that are fast action takers. As you know, in our community, we have a saying that says "Money loves speed," and I'm gonna look for a way to reward you guys. I'm not sure what it will be yet, but put it. I'm in, right? Or put I can't wait to attend to Casey. How about I'm going to KCF Live? Put that in the chat box or in the comments box or wherever you're watching this video. I'm going to KCF Live, and I'm gonna think of something. Me and my team are gonna get together and we're gonna think of a way to reward you guys for going in and taking action. All right. With that said, we'll see you KCF Live, and I'm going to show you how to build out your happy customer audience that's ideal for you. All right. Stay well.